Hello, Martin. I'm really glad to welcome you on Global Age podcast. You know that it's dedicated to companies with international coverage, but also who are exploring the potential of artificial intelligence. So I'm very excited to have you in this podcast to understand your journey, specifically with artificial intelligence, but also as a person, as an entrepreneur. So if you don't mind, can you start introducing your name and what you do?
Okay, yeah, thank you very much. Great to be here. My name is Martin Taylor. I'm the founder and CEO of AlphaGen Analytics, and we're a bootstrapped early stage B2B SaaS platform.
And what is your background in order to come up with this amazing new service? Where do you come from? What has been your career journey until then?
I've got over 20 years experience in sales and marketing, primarily in B2B. I started off, as many do in sales, as a sort of lead generation or BDR type roles. Moving through the sales senior roles, account executives and then management, but mostly in tech industry, sort of from SMB right up to large enterprise. And as the world became sort of more digital, marketing became more prominent within my role as sales. I started working in sort of more cross roles, crossing over between sales and marketing. And then eventually I started my own marketing agency and became quite capable in several marketing disciplines, particularly SEO and paid ads. And what I realized was that there was no real CRM equivalent that I was used to in sales. There was no centralized record that you come to expect in sales role, where if you want to run an effective sales team, you have a centralized record, which is in the CRM. And it kind of became clear to me that that doesn't really exist. There wasn't a single place that we could go to as a marketer to answer the questions we had to run an effective department. You know, questions around the content channel, that kind of stuff. So I felt that pain.
And this is where AlphaGen Analytics came into your mind.
So AlphaGen is B2B SaaS. We're AI powered. Well, our focus is on content management, helping marketing teams to manage content better, but also to understand what content is performing best and worse. And we really sort of focused with accounts, companies, contacts first and work back from there. In marketing, we start with the content, and asset management is actually very difficult for a lot of marketing teams. They don't have a way to see what content they have to begin with. Most companies using cloud-based storage, Google Drive, Dropbox, and pretty archaic, I would suggest, folder-based systems. And there are also digital asset management platforms available, but they tend to be quite costly. And the problem with those is that they're disconnected from the performance of the asset. You know, the performance is living somewhere else in, other data or native app platforms. So what we're doing at AlphaGen is bringing those two platforms together. So combining the ability and functionality, if you like, with an asset management tool, so I can visually see everything that I'm working with. But then I can also see the performance of that content from a marketing perspective as well, which is obviously very important. So we're kind of bringing those two platforms. But then what we do is create a level of context to those assets or the content. We're using AI to create another data layer of context over the top of that content. So what was on that piece of content or that ad? What was the message or the phrases being used, and what type of visuals, sensible or a comedic tone, or was it a more serious or formal tone? All these things really matter in understanding what's really working or not, and across all of your audience segments and your regions and your products and so forth at every stage of the customer journey. So we bring all of those things together to help you understand what's really working and not within your marketing content.
The problem that AlphaGen Analytics is solving for businesses is that it helps to have a detailed understanding of the performance with paid advertising spending.
Yes, and it's reducing the amount of time to get to that point as well. There's a lot of time being spent at the moment trying to figure this stuff out, and a lot of manual work, and we're reducing that work.
That pain in accessing the data in a reliable way, but also in a timely manner, right?
Yes, there's a term that I hear all the time, actionable insights. That's what they're kind of trying to get. They want some sort of context behind the performance of everything so that they understand what they should be doing next, and so they can brief their creative teams on the best assets or content to create next to try to optimize their ad performance based on better data than what they have right now.
How does AI really improve that capacity, that capability that you are describing compared to what was available before AI came into the...
We encourage people to look at AI a little bit differently. We're not using AI to go in there to try to make better sense of what's going on per se. Advertisers and organizations really, they're working with a ton of unstructured data. So the answers that they're looking for don't really exist within there. That's why you see quite a bit of frustration, or at least I've heard, speaking with a lot of marketers, when they get the help of a data expert to come in and help them make better sense of the data that they have. What happens quite often is that the answers that they get back, they take quite a long time, and they're not actually quite the level of usefulness that they were hoping for, because you're dealing with disparate data, various data sources, unconnected and different platforms, analytics, attribution. But all these systems, they kind of lack the one thing that marketers are looking for, really, which is the context, what's on the ads. AI can help to actually see and hear and read content in super quick time, far quicker than a human can process it, and then attach textual data layer. By way of a process called AI labeling, which is a thing which is very popular in the enterprise space at the moment. But what that label is the important aspects and elements that are important to the marketer. So it's not just labeling what it sees, it's labeling based on everything that the marketer is important to them. So we call this like a human in the loop approach, which we actually do as a managed service right now. We're doing this for our clients to ensure that every single ad has the correct metadata fields attached to them according to the needs of each marketer. The end result provides all the answers to the questions that the advertisers have, like what messages and creatives are working best, worst in each different region or each product section and so forth, so they can actually make an informed decision about what to do next without any manual work anymore. No naming conventions required, because the important context now lives at that content level, and that would inherit all of the targeting and audience placements from the ad platforms themselves. And none of this is possible at any kind of speed or scale without using AI.
You're mentioning some of the companies that you're supporting at its early stage, but do you have a real example where you are already seeing the potential that AlphaGen is offering?
With this type of technology, the bigger the volume and complexity of ad campaigns you're running, the bigger the impact can have. But even at a relatively low number, say maybe 100 ads or 200 ads, it starts to become quite difficult to track everything that you've already done, especially if you're running different ads for different ICPs, different personas, and even more so if they're in different countries. So, if you're finding yourself sometimes wondering or struggling to remember if you've already run a specific campaign or a specific angle or a message, then AlphaGen can be a huge help to you, because it keeps that record of everything that's been done in the past. And AlphaGen can certainly reduce that time by at least up to about 75%. If you're having difficulty answering questions internally from senior management or even your peers about why you made certain decisions, and you can use AlphaGen to provide some data to really classify your decision making. And that make you super efficient and knowledgeable as well about what you're doing, because it's really taking over like all that time it takes you to do it from a human manual perspective. It's this technology, it has huge amounts of benefits in so many ways. And if yourself or somebody in your team feels like they're a bit of a blocker to creative teams, they're kind of waiting for the next briefs, and you're trying to make a decision and you're trying to figure out what you should be doing next, you can help avoid those situations. And there's a lot of experience or disconnect between the media buyers and the creative teams. So if you're having some difficult conversations together with the creative teams, questioning why the briefs that they're getting are asking for certain variations of assets, it really just gives that justification and empowers those kind of two teams to work together. So this can really help improve those collaboration.
Do you see that the marketing teams have a genuine interest for artificial intelligence, what it's enabling, or do you feel that actually those marketing teams have facing doubt and fear with all of those services?
I think there's a level of skepticism about what AI actually can bring to the table. There's been a lot of early tools AI powered that have really let down on the results. If you look at the sort of progress of AI in recent year or two, where it's really helped, it's actually not helped too much on the analytics side so far. And so I think that once we explain the logic behind how we're using AI, it's not this magic button you press and it can just come up with these insights. They see that what we're doing is replacing what they're doing now, which is the manual work.
And do you feel that actually the marketing discipline is changing as a result of all of those AI-powered tools?
A lot of people are struggling to keep up. It's changing so fast.
All of us.
Yeah. I mean, even some prompt engineers that I speak with, they're struggling to keep up, and that's all they do. So imagine if you're not just marketers, but executives. It's very hard to keep up. There's a lot of pressure I'm seeing at the executive level in marketing to increase efficiency using AI. And you also have security concerns on top, which is kind of stalling adoption in some of these tools, particularly in the larger companies. And I think that might prove to be a disadvantage to some of the large corporations, which then moves opportunities for some of the smaller companies. But I think there's been some misconceptions about that these tools would replace the human writers or the copywriters. But I actually see that these tools are empowering those people with those skills to become better and more efficient and enable them to deliver more work of the same or even higher quality. So just because you can create more content or you can create blog articles or landing pages quicker, the best ones still require the human intelligence and skills to get the most out of the tools. So I'm seeing a trend now happening where marketing teams are going to require prompt engineering skills or prompting or no code communication, if you like, with AI. All marketers, really, they're going to have a certain knowledge of skill with AI just to survive. I mean, AI isn't going to replace you per se, just as we moved, I guess, from the digital age, we kind of had to adapt, I think. I think same thing's going to evolve with AI. I think everybody's going to just start using it just as part of their daily lives. And I'd like to think we'll be at the forefront of this, where people start to realize the real power of AI. And I think that penny will drop soon. And yeah, but we hope to be at the forefront of that for sure.
And would it have been possible to create such a powerful service without AI? And if yes, how much does artificial intelligence facilitate the development of your business?
So as far as the actual product itself, we had actually architected kind of manual solution of it. So it still would have been a step ahead of what's available right now. But AI has really exponentially increased the speed and efficiency of what we can deliver from a product perspective. That's helped us be more efficient internally. We're a bootstrap company. We're getting a lot more done with fewer engineers. And we've also got a number of different tasks that AI is actually helping us with. We do plan to share with other marketers soon, being around sort of competitor analysis workflows, being able to take website content, ad content that you don't own, and using certain models, combining them together to almost reverse engineer the strategy of what the competition is doing, and started to see what messages or value propositions or pain points and how they're kind of position themselves against their competitors, which might be you. So using AI to streamline that process, which is also very manual at the moment, and taking screenshots of that, put them into a Figma file, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, true.
Very, very slow. Keeping an eye on a competition is always something that I think marketers struggle with, actually, is to get the amount of information that they really want. What we're really doing with AI is what I would call textualizing assets. So taking your images and your videos and understanding the words being used on the images, the transcriptions of videos, describing what's on the images, describing what's on the videos, kind of tone, the style, sentiments, all those kind of things, to build up a kind of a textual version of everything that's contained in those assets. The reason why we textualize them is then we can use the LLMs to quickly point out what's on there. So you're not only using our product with AI to add context around your own assets, you can actually do the same thing for your competitors. Everything I've just described there was not really possible at this kind of speed and efficiency before the recent advancements that we've seen in AI over the last couple of years.
How do you see the SaaS landscape changing, specifically in this new area of artificial intelligence?
Well, I think it's transforming,
Mm-hmm.
not replacing, as some seem to think so. I think we're still going to interact with software the same way as we have done for a while, at least until the metaverse or something like that comes up to transform how we interact with the software. But I think AI-powered software is quickly already becoming a given. What we're actually delivering in terms of value is still somewhat unknown. I certainly used several AI-powered SaaS tools that promised and didn't deliver. We're all starting to better understand this new technology. I don't think about AI as completely taking over certain SaaS functions, seeing it more of a facilitator, and the human is still in charge, at least for now, anyway.
You are talking a lot about how much artificial intelligence is offering, empowering, facilitating. But will there be any, in your opinion, any loser in the age of AI?
I think the early adopters have a big chance of winning, right? But there's still quite a lot of skeptics out there. Everybody thinking it's a magic button, you impress, and it does these amazing things, but it's not going to replace you completely. It's coming back to this prompt engineering side of things, getting a good understanding of what it can do, what it can't do, and how to communicate with it. And I think companies that insist or assist their employees to embrace the technology, encourage testing and experimentation, I think they're the ones that are the best chance of winning. And the ones that are resisting the change potentially lose traction and fall behind. Some of the larger companies have the security restrictions, and I think as the models become cheaper to run locally as well, you'll find that they may catch up once they appreciate what they can do. And I think the future is all of us running our own models in closed environments once the cost drops down. And I think that's when organizations are going to need the skills of what prompt engineering is suggesting at the moment, which is being able to communicate with it, understanding how to get the most out of certain models, because not all models are equal. Our internal approach on this is to really continue sharing and experimenting and see where this technology takes us.
And I guess that you're applying this advice to yourself. So maybe you can share with us what your future plans are for your business. Do you already have a vision of what it's going to look like?
Well, aside from revenue targets, of course, internally we have encouraging testing things out. Everybody on the team that works at AlphaGen, depending on their roles, are very much encouraged to do or work with AI, but to actually get them to stick to what they're already good at, not to try to use AI to do things that they're not trained to do. It's just to treat AI as something that can make you better at what you're already trained to do. That's how I see it.
Very well done, and really looking forward to seeing how successful you are going to be in the next month and years. So thank you so much, Martin, for accepting to be here and share with us your perception of how much artificial intelligence is influencing and supporting your business.
Thank you very much. It was a pleasure to be here. Thank you very much.